I'm a pastor of a Baptist church in Rome, Georgia, and there's probably around 63 other Southern Baptist churches in this town, and probably another 100 or so, at least, other house churches, church plants, Methodist churches, independent churches in this town. So I get asked all the time, why Fifth Avenue? What makes Fifth Avenue distinguishable from those other churches? And I think the way I answer that question is the gospel. I mean, that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but Fifth Avenue is a church where we believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ, that we are saved to enjoy God, to live for His glory. And that means that we really take seriously the scriptures, the Bible. We have a high view of how we're to use the Bible, in the sense of, on Sundays I want to preach through passages. I want to do exegetical preaching of going verse by verse and chapter by chapter and book by book, and going through books consecutively, because that's the way God gave us the Bible, and I think He's the one that knows how we should go through the Bible, and He's given it to us in a certain way, so I want to use it in that way. And that also means that we go deeper into kind of theology. We're a church that is distinguishable from other churches because we take seriously the scriptures, and say, because it says in the Great Commission, take the gospel to a dying world. We as a church are trying to reach an unreached people group in Asia right now. We've sent somebody out there to try and meet with an unreached people group and begin a 10-year process of a vision that God has given us to plant a church out there. It also means that here at Fifth Avenue, we want to do the job of making disciples. Church isn't about being comfortable or being given a pep talk every week, or kind of being in a jacuzzi of Christian music that kind of makes you feel good for a little while, and then you get to go home. Living as a Christian means taking up your cross and denying yourself and following Jesus Christ. Living as a Christian means wanting to see others become disciples and make Jesus their treasure. And so here at Fifth Avenue, my heart and the heart of the men around who help lead Fifth Avenue is to see people treasure Jesus Christ. And that means that we want men to be men in their homes. We want men to be Christ-like in loving their wives. And we want wives who want to be godly in being helpers to their husbands, and strong but gentle vessels in being part of the home and part of the family. It means that as a church, we take seriously prayer. We think about prayer as being a supernatural way that God has given us to be able to express to Him the desires of our hearts and connect with Him in a way that nothing else can, and to be used as a way of interceding for other people, and to want to see people come to faith. We also, as a church, we're distinguishable because we take seriously the doctrines of Scripture, like creation, which has an effect on how you view men and women in church, and how you view marriage. And we take seriously the doctrines of salvation. We believe in the doctrines that come through the Reformation, which is to know that you are saved by grace alone, through faith alone, in Jesus Christ alone, understood through the Bible alone, for the glory of God alone. And so in those areas of doctrines, we take that seriously, which means that if somebody becomes a Christian, it shouldn't just be kind of closing your eyes and putting your hand in the air. It should be this person has been drawn by God to give their life to God and live for Him. And so what we do at Fifth Avenue is we challenge each other with the Word. So I try and do that on Sundays in the sermons. We try and do that in smaller groups in people's homes and in Sunday school classes, because part of the process of making disciples is opening up the Word together, sharing your life together, and getting stuck into the Word so you know Him better. So Fifth Avenue as a church, to be distinguished from other churches in this town, we're not trying to entertain you. We're not trying to make you feel comfortable. Not that we deliberately want you to be uncomfortable, but we want you to be challenged and changed by the Word. Because living in a sinful world and saying that you're a follower of Jesus Christ, those two things will clash, and there has to be a divergence of saying, I'm in the world, but I'm not living for the world. I want Jesus to be my treasure, and I want Him to be my joy. That means I don't find joy anymore in the things of the world. I find my joy in knowing Him. That's not to say that you abandon everything in the world, but everything you do now, as long as the Bible permits it, you do for the glory of God, and you do because you're enjoying Him. And so we have a vision statement here at Fifth Avenue, which is to take the gospel to a dying world and to show the sacrificial love of Christ. And what that is just wanting people to know and love Jesus, to make him their treasure, and to make that treasure known to other people in this kind of dying world. You see, in Floyd County, there's probably, on a good Sunday, about 15,000 people that go to church. But then in the population of Floyd County, there's around kind of 95,000 people that live in our county. That means that there's over 80,000 people that are just not connected with the gospel. And so we are passionate at Fifth Avenue because we want to make disciples and we want to take the gospel out to a dying world, that reaching those people and bringing them in.